My wife believed I didn't catch on, but I noticed the subtle shifts in her. So I silently transferred all my assets and waited. Then she went ahead and filed for divorce, expecting to take it all, only to discover there was nothing left to claim. Can you even imagine coming home one day, exhausted, to find your own house key doesn't work? Not because you lost it, but because your family, the people who are supposed to love and protect you, had broken in, changed the locks, and moved your manipulative, struggling stepsister into the home your deceased mother worked her entire life to give you? My blood ran cold, but theirs was about to run a lot colder. This isn't just some Reddit story. This is my life, and it revolves around this house. I'm Ryan, 34, an automotive mechanic here in Tacoma, Washington. This place, a solid 3-bedroom ranch, isn't just walls and a roof to me. It's my mom, Sarah. She passed away 7 years ago, but every single corner of this house screams her name. She worked her tail off, 28 grueling years as a surgical tech, just to pay this place off. She grew up dirt poor, joined the military, used her GI benefits, pulled countless double shifts, all for me, to make sure I'd never be homeless, never throwing money away on rent. When my biological father, Victor, walked out when I was 8, she raised me alone. This house, it's her sacrifice. Every overtime shift, every missed weekend, every simple meal she ate so I could have school supplies. When I walk in after a long day, I still feel her presence. The kitchen where she taught me to change oil, the living room where we watched NASCAR, the garage where she helped me rebuild my first motorcycle engine. This house is my anchor, my history, my mother's legacy. Victor, my father, re-entered my life briefly when I was 15, begging Mom to take him back. She tore him a new one, a sight to behold. 2 years later, he married Diana, an absolute piece of work, with a spoiled 12-year-old daughter named Brittany. From day one, Brittany was treated like royalty. Private school, designer clothes, a new iPhone every single year. While I was working summers to pay for my own community college classes, she was jet-setting to Mexico and Hawaii. My mom taught me the value of earning what you get. Brittany, now 29, never learned that lesson. She's one of those social media influencer types, genuinely believing the world owes her everything because she can take a decent selfie. She cycles through rich boyfriends faster than I change oil. After Mom died, I kept Victor's side of the family at arm's length. Christmas, a birthday here or there, out of obligation. My life was simple. My shop, my friends, my '89 Mustang GT, fishing. No drama. That was until 6 months ago. Brittany's latest sugar daddy, a tech entrepreneur named Tyler, finally saw through her and kicked her to the curb. She was 4 months pregnant. Naturally, she crawled back to Diana and Victor. The warning signs were there, but I was busy living my life. I should have known people like Brittany don't just accept setbacks. They scheme. They manipulate. They plot. The first real tremor came when Victor called. He never calls unless someone's in the hospital. "Ryan," he said, in this overly formal tone that instantly made my skin crawl, "we need to have a very serious conversation about some important family business." I just knew it was going to be bad. I drove to their ridiculous McMansion in Federal Way that Saturday, dreading every second. Diana, painted like a clown, answered the door. Brittany was draped dramatically across their expensive leather sofa, 7 months pregnant, rubbing her belly like a magic lamp. Victor wasted no time. "Brittany's going to need a stable place to raise her child. Our house isn't really set up for a newborn." I almost laughed. Their house is 3,500 square feet, 5 bedrooms. But apparently, it wasn't good enough for Princess Brittany and her bundle of joy. Diana chimed in with a sickeningly sweet voice that made my teeth ache. "Ryan, sweetie, you're just rattling around in that big house all by yourself. No girlfriend, no wife, no children. It's such a waste. Brittany needs a stable environment, and your place would be absolutely perfect." Then Brittany, without even looking at me, delivered her demands. "Tyler was supposed to buy us a house, but he's a loser. I need somewhere decent to live now, and your place has everything. 3 bedrooms, big backyard, good school district. It makes perfect sense." The sheer, breathtaking entitlement. She was talking about my home, the house my mother literally died working for, like it was some vacant rental property. Absolutely not happening, I said, my voice flat, firm. This is my home. My mother left it to me. End of discussion. Period. Victor, with his patronizing smirk, leaned forward. Son, your mother would want you to help family. It's not permanent, just until Brittany gets back on her feet. Back on her feet from what? Getting pregnant by some guy who finally saw through her manipulation. Brittany's face went crimson. Excuse me, I didn't choose to be abandoned while carrying an innocent child. No, but you absolutely chose to get involved with a guy you barely knew just for his money and to support your expensive lifestyle, I retorted. Diana gasped dramatically like I'd struck her. Ryan, that's incredibly cruel. It's also completely accurate, and my answer is still no. Brittany stood up, invading my space. I'm family, you selfish jerk. I deserve help more than you deserve to hoard a house you don't even properly use. You're not my family. You're some random woman my father married into our lives, and I don't owe you a single thing, especially not my house. That's when she completely lost it, screaming about how selfish I was, how I couldn't understand her vulnerability, how I was denying her innocent baby a stable home. I walked out, slamming their McMansion door. I thought that was it. I was wrong. I should have known. These people don't just move on. They declare war. The military campaign began immediately. Victor called daily, trying new angles. Rent the house below market value? A long-term payment plan? Didn't I understand how hard it was for a pregnant woman to find housing? Diana's approach was even more infuriating. She started showing up at my work, my job sites, even the diner where I grabbed lunch, spinning elaborate sob stories about poor, helpless Brittany. My boss eventually had to ban her. She was disrupting business and making customers uncomfortable. Brittany, meanwhile, took to social media, posting constantly about her heartless family member forcing a pregnant woman into homelessness. She never named me, but the hashtags were clear. Hashtag family first, hashtag pregnant and abandoned, hashtag helpless and alone. Nasty messages started pouring into my DMs. Then came the home visits. Victor would show up unannounced with baby furniture, claiming he needed storage. Diana brought a real estate agent to my door one afternoon, suggesting I look for a more appropriate, smaller home. The agent looked mortified when I sent them both packing. But Brittany's visits were the worst. She'd show up at all hours, baby clothes, nursery equipment, acting like she was just visiting family but really trying to establish a presence. One afternoon, I came home from work to find her hanging curtains and assembling a crib in my spare bedroom. My jaw dropped. What in the world do you think you're doing in my house without permission? I demanded, barely containing my fury. Just setting up the baby's room, she replied casually, so you can see how perfect it would be. Get every single piece of this stuff out of my house. Now, you have no right to be here. She pouted. Ryan, please be reasonable. I need somewhere safe for this equipment. That's not my problem. You have 30 seconds to start moving this garbage, or I'm throwing it all in the front yard and calling the police. That's when the waterworks started, huge, theatrical tears. Why are you being so cruel? I'm pregnant and scared. Because you're trying to take over my house without permission. Because you think being pregnant gives you the right to whatever you want. Because you're a spoiled brat who's never heard the word no. That finally shut her up. She packed her things and left, but not before delivering an ominous threat. You're going to regret treating me like this, Ryan. Family takes care of family, and you're going to learn that lesson the hard way. I should have listened. 2 weeks later, they crossed the ultimate line. I came home after a brutal 12-hour shift, covered in grease, and my key wouldn't work. Locked out. My own house. Taped to the door was a note in Victor's handwriting. The locks have been changed for security purposes. Call us. I stood there, shaking with pure, uncontrolled rage. They had broken into my house. The house my mother had sacrificed everything for. The house that was her legacy. I called Victor, voice tight. What did you do to my house? Calm down, Ryan. We're just helping Brittany get settled. She moved all her belongings in earlier. We changed the locks for everyone's protection. She what? She moved into my house? She's living there now. Yes, it's better for everyone this way. You can stay here with us. I couldn't speak. The audacity. You let that manipulative liar move into my house without my permission? The actual owner. Don't talk about her like that, Ryan. She's family. I don't care what she thinks she needs. Get her out of there right now and fix my locks, or I'm calling the police. Victor tried to negotiate to compromise. I hung up. I called 911. The police arrived about 40 minutes later, just as the emergency locksmith pulled up. Brittany answered my door, wearing a silk bathrobe, acting like she owned the place. Officers, thank goodness. This dangerous man is trying to break into my house. I calmly handed them my driver's license, the official deed, months of utility bills. It took them about 5 minutes to figure out who was telling the truth. Brittany tried to claim she was a legal tenant, but had no lease, no payments, no proof. Ma'am, you need to gather your belongings and leave, one officer stated. This is ridiculous. I'm 7 months pregnant. You can't just throw a pregnant woman out. You're trespassing. You can leave voluntarily, or we can arrest you. It took her 3 hours to pack. Diana and Victor showed up with a moving truck, trying to spin a family misunderstanding story. The officers weren't buying it. Any further attempts to enter, they said, would result in arrests. Once they were gone, I had the locksmith install heavy-duty deadbolts and security chains. That night, a friend who owns a security company installed a full camera system, motion sensors, night vision, smartphone alerts. If they tried anything else, I'd have video evidence. But I should have known. People like them never give up when they think they deserve something that isn't theirs. The next morning, I called my lawyer. I explained everything, the harassment, the break-in. He listened patiently, then dropped a bombshell that truly shattered me. Ryan, I need to tell you something you're not going to like. Your father contacted our office 3 weeks ago. He was asking very specific questions about contesting your mother's will, challenging your inheritance. My blood went completely cold. It felt like a sledgehammer to the gut. What do you mean? Be specific. He wanted to know if there was any legal way to claim the house as community property from his previous marriage, even though they divorced years before she passed. He was asking about a paternal claim to challenge the will's validity. The betrayal hit me harder than anything. Victor wasn't just helping Brittany. He'd been plotting to steal my mother's inheritance. Can he actually do that? Challenge Mom's will? Absolutely not. Your mother's will is ironclad. The house was purchased entirely after their divorce, with her own income. But the fact that he's exploring these options means this isn't just about housing for Brittany. They're trying to steal your property through legal manipulation. My lawyer immediately sent a formal cease and desist letter. Then I found out something even more infuriating. Brittany was telling everyone she was my legal tenant, and I was illegally evicting her. She was posting constantly on social media about her abusive landlord, even starting a crowdfunding campaign for legal fees to fight this illegal eviction. She made me sound like some predatory slumlord throwing a helpless pregnant woman onto the street. When a friend showed me the posts, the fundraising page, I lost it. She was actively trying to destroy my reputation, steal my house, and turn me into the villain in her fabricated story. That's when I decided no more defense. It was time for offense. For a month, I quietly collected information. What I found was worse than I could have imagined. Brittany wasn't just entitled. She was a criminal. She was active on every dating app in Seattle, explicitly mentioning her pregnancy, looking for a real man to provide stability and security. My IT friend helped me screenshot everything. Her profiles, message, threads, asking potential dates about their income and assets. She was claiming to be homeless and desperate while living comfortably in Victor and Diana's mansion. Her crowdfunding campaign had raised over $3,200. But the most valuable information came from Tyler, her baby's supposed father. He hadn't just dumped her. She'd been systematically stealing from him. Credit card fraud, forged checks. He hadn't pressed charges, just wanted her gone. But he had documented everything. I reached out to him. We met for coffee. He was a genuinely decent guy, utterly manipulated. Man, she had me completely convinced she was this sweet, innocent woman, he told me, pain in his voice. Took me 6 months to realize she was a professional con artist. What finally made you realize? I asked. I found out she was still married to another man. Legally married. My jaw literally dropped. She's married right now? Absolutely. Derek Thompson. Married in Vegas 3 years ago. She moved here and pretended to be single ever since. The baby might not even be mine. She was seeing multiple guys. Boom. That was it. Devastating. Brittany wasn't just manipulative. She was running elaborate scams across states. And I was about to make sure everyone knew. I waited for Brittany's baby shower. Diana had organized a massive celebration, inviting half the neighborhood, posting about it online. Perfect. I showed up, completely uninvited, with a thick folder of documented evidence and Tyler as my witness. Diana tried to block me, but I walked past her into the backyard, where about 40 people were celebrating. Sorry to interrupt this lovely party, I announced, loud enough for everyone to hear. But I thought you should all know exactly who you're really supporting here. Brittany went ghost white. Ryan, what are you doing? You weren't invited. Yes, well, I thought your guests might want to know they're giving expensive baby gifts to a married woman who's been running an elaborate criminal scam. The backyard went dead silent. Diana tried to intervene, but I kept going. Everyone here probably heard Brittany's tragic sob story about her mean stepbrother making her homeless, right? What she conveniently didn't mention is that she broke into my house illegally, changed the locks, and tried to steal my property. And what she also failed to mention is that she's still legally married to a man in California. I pulled out the marriage certificate Tyler helped me get. Brittany Ross, legally married to Derek Thompson in Las Vegas 3 years ago. Never divorced. Which makes her entire abandoned single mom story a complete fabrication designed to steal money from all of you. The murmuring started. Brittany was bright red, panicking. That's not we're legally separated. Which still makes everything you've told these people a lie. And what about the systematic theft and fraud? I held up Tyler's documentation. Stealing over $4,000 from the father of your baby. Forging checks, committing credit card fraud? Or how about this? I showed them her dating app profiles on my phone. Currently active on 4 different dating apps, looking for generous men to support her and her baby financially, while simultaneously claiming to be homeless and accepting charity from all of you good people. An elderly woman stood up, disgusted. Is this true, Brittany? Have you been lying to all of us? Before Brittany could respond, Tyler stepped forward. Everything he's saying is completely accurate. I'm Tyler, the supposed deadbeat baby father. She stole over $4,300 from me and was running this exact scam on at least 3 other men. The party erupted. People demanded their gifts back. They called her disgusting. Diana tried desperately to do damage control, but it was too late. Victor finally appeared, bewildered. Ryan, what are you doing to our family reputation? Exposing the complete truth about your precious stepdaughter's criminal activities. But I'm not finished. I pulled out my phone and called the County Housing Authority fraud hotline. Hello, I'd like to report welfare fraud. Someone claiming to be homeless while living in a $500,000 mansion. Then the state tax fraud line. I'd like to report unreported income from a crowdfunding campaign and possible tax evasion. Brittany was crying real tears now. Stop it. You're destroying my life. You tried to destroy mine first when you broke into my house. The difference is, everything I'm saying is true and provable in court. As the disgusted guests left, many demanding refunds, I handed Victor one final piece of paper. What's this? A formal lawsuit for harassment, criminal trespassing, attempted theft, and emotional distress. My lawyer filed it this morning. You're being sued for $75,000 in damages, legal fees, and punitive damages. Diana was screaming at me as I walked away with Tyler. As I reached my truck, I could still hear Brittany's complete emotional breakdown from the backyard. The aftermath was swift and devastating. Within 2 weeks, Brittany's actual husband, Derek, drove up from California. He'd found out about her scam through social media. He was filing for divorce and had outstanding criminal warrants for her arrest on similar fraud charges. The investigation into her welfare fraud revealed she'd been illegally collecting benefits while living large. The IRS audit of her crowdfunding campaign led to serious tax evasion charges. Victor and Diana settled my lawsuit for $35,000, plus my security system costs and legal fees, totaling another $8,000, just to avoid the public humiliation of a trial. And Tyler's DNA test? Not the father. Turns out the real father was some married businessman she'd been simultaneously scamming in Spokane, who immediately filed his own criminal charges. Last I heard, Brittany was living in a women's shelter in San Diego, facing multiple criminal charges in 2 different states. Her social media accounts were shut down for fraud. The state was demanding repayment of all her benefits, plus penalties. It was a nightmare, one that shook me to my core. But in the end, justice was served. They tried to steal my home, my mother's legacy, and they paid a heavy price. What would you have done in my place? Have you ever had family turn on you like this? Tell me what you think in the comments below. I really want to know.